Anyways, as we get back into it, I'll start in on the spiel. This is our weekly all-team tactical meeting. We're going to use this time to sync up on the work that we're doing, eliminate blockers, and prioritize our work for the next week. So on the lag metric side, we had 108 transaction volume in the last week with 9 weekly transacting users. That was kind of interesting to me that there were 9, which is higher than normal. So I haven't looked into why that is, but potentially after this meeting, I'll take a peek. On the team-wide announcement side, don't forget to use the What Did You Ship channel when you ship something for BCard, and we have some standard bounties here. On the milestones perspectives, I guess since it's just me and Tom up here on the stage, we can talk about this support ticket that the user had. Yeah, they came in that JRH3K5. He said that when he clicked submit, he got this something went wrong. But when he went back in, it actually said that he voted. I don't know if it actually showed up on Snapshot though.
That's a good question. Yeah, we'd have to sort of filter back against his wallet address and trace through to see if the vote was recorded. Would be an interesting thing to see, because if it's showing the results there, it usually does indicate that a vote is recorded. But yeah, we could double check, make sure that it has gone in.
Yeah, because I'm not sure about that, right? I think like there were 5 votes before I left for vacation, and then when he posted this, and I just quickly checked my phone on vacation, and I went back in, and there was 5 votes. Anyways, I need to look up his wallet address, anyways.
In 2 ways, right? Like it could mark him as voted, but then have recorded a 0 vote or something like that, which didn't get recorded.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, because I think that I am cutting in and out. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think that I need to get his wallet address anyways. So like, for that whole since he submitted the bug, I wanted to reward him with some BCard. So I'll look up his wallet and see if it's on there after this meet, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's good. And then I don't know if maybe there's a way we can diagnose it, because there's a way he can re-vote, right? We got it open, or is it still open?
Nah, it's closed now. In fact, I dispersed the funds yesterday.
Next one, then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. We want everyone to be able to vote easily.
Yeah, I was thinking he can replay that vote, like redo and resubmit is an option, right? So we should be able to at least retry if it didn't go in the first time.
Yeah, makes sense. But I'll get the new vote up soon. I solicited a bunch of events yesterday, so hopefully people put it in. But I actually didn't see any new posts in here, so we'll see. But a bunch of people said that they did run events, so hopefully I can get that August vote up pretty soon, and then we have some test case for them.
So cool.
On the community pages, no progress on my side. Anything from you, Tom?
No, as I mentioned, I took just a couple of weeks off, and I wasn't thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, and I think that like I was like, okay, yeah, like I wanted to use it for multiple things. So I'm just like, okay, I really need to get this login working. Anyways, all this to say that I want to get the login working. I'm gonna actually try to work on it today if I can. I got a little bit sidetracked by this whole noun stuff, right? Because like I guess like sometimes you forget how much governance is involved with these like DAO proposals.
Yeah, so much, right?
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, well, I mean, it's all very normal kinds of questions and stuff like that, but like the way that nouns works. What's that?
That it takes time. It all takes time, the questions and the process, right?
Exactly, because you have to think about it and you have to answer them. And with nouns, like they don't just talk on chain; they also have they have 2 different discords, and they have the Farcaster group, and they have their people on X. So it really is like decentralized.
Not the easiest one to keep up with, but
yeah, there's no like single forum that you can post to. But yeah, like someone signaled against the forum, the proposal on chain, and then I had to just like the person's like Discord, Twitter, and Farcaster handles are all different than their online persona, than their on-chain persona. So I had to like track them down and ask them questions, and yeah, it just takes a little bit extra time, which is fine. But I'm also like, well, I would rather spend that time on the community pages. So yes, hopefully I won't get sidetracked. I do have some open questions that I need to answer still on the downside, but I'm hoping to get into that login. and really just get something kind of like, let's say, tight and small, right? Like not a lot of functionality, but it is stable and usable, and also as well like composable, I guess, like in that way that we had those React components being composable within the backend there, within not the backend, but like that the static site.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. So in-app voting and endowment fund, I did dispersed already. So the July vote is done. Dispersed the funds. The August yield is pulled. Oh, actually, it's not yet, but August yield to be pulled. Yeah, exactly. So I have the numbers and the things that I need to do, and then I just need to do it, which shouldn't take me too long now. Less, probably like 15 minutes or something now. So I'll pull the yield. I solicited a bunch of events. It would be nice to get to the point where we're able to have people just like automatically submit their events. But we're not quite there yet. I'm still poking people. And on the nouns prop side, I had some pushback. What did I say? Washing through governance now. Let's say going through governance now. So I posted the prop, had some pushback from someone who is well regarded in the nouns community. They're saying that they want to do that they basically want to do a trial, would just give us like a couple of ETH and we'll disperse it, which is okay, right? Like it could be fine. But it's just like I just don't feel like it's like setting it up for like long-term success, because it's like really difficult to get a prop through the whole governance. So does that mean that we're gonna have to do another prop later? Maybe. And so they're like, let's do a 3-month trial. And I was like, oh well, doing like a prop for like half an ETH is like maybe it's not really worth it, right?
Yeah.
So they may have a different way to do it. Someone had mentioned that someone might just fund it, and we'll just do a trial and see how it works with the nouns community. Again, I probably need to do probably need to do a lot more work on just like engaging nouners on Farcaster and just being like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is who we are. But like in any case, all of the questions that they're asking are questions that any normal person would ask, and it just means that we need to like make our website better. So all the more reason to make our community pages better, because the website is our first kind of community page case. And I think it's just it would be ideal is when you went to the website, you could just understand how it worked. Hey, I'm going to go into this black flag website. Oh, I see that I can deposit. Oh, I see I can do this. Oh, I see I can do that. And once we get those kinds of things going, and let's say we like add some of those mini app capabilities, oh, well, doing this stuff on Farcaster all of a sudden becomes way easier. So by the time someone from Nouns actually gets to it, they're kind of like, oh, I've seen this before, right? Like, oh, I get how this works. Maybe I've already even deposited into the pool, right? So anyway, something to think about.
Yeah, I was actually working toward or thinking towards the sort of simplicity of that UI of like giving people nice friendly buttons for depositing to pools, and I think it's going to be really workable and really like nice and easy. So I'm excited to see that in play. I was working up for myself. I'm doing a series of little like demo apps or whatever that I'm just like building for fun. And one of them is a simple DeFi bank. So you just connect your wallet up, and then it just gives you access to sort of like deposit your Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin in Aave or your USDC in Aave. Basically just like the basics, like one button, press, deposit, that's it. Like simple. I was thinking like this is kind of like a framework towards what we're looking for in terms of those like deploy to pools, because it's really a contract address that it's just calling and sort of deploying to, right? It'll be the same process exactly of sort of simplifying that. And then I was thinking the next step is, well, with this little prototype that I built with the Connect wallet or whatever is pretty good. I can send you a link if you want to take a peek at it. I need to work on the UI, but the function's getting close. I was thinking it would be awesome to slap a privy option as login principally for here. And then I was like, well, then it's like 3 steps towards the BCard little like widget, voting widget, not voting widget, deposit widget that we want to look at doing too. So I was like, man, this is maybe a good framework to sort of look at.
Yeah, and are you still using React and that kind of stuff? Because I guess like
it's React and Node. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess like the Yeah. So yes, you're absolutely right in saying that it's like very close to the same thing we're looking at. We're basically looking at making all that stuff composable, right? So that anyone can kind of do stuff with it. And so it's like, yeah, I think like that full deposit, like with one click, is exactly the kind of vibe that we're going for. And I think it like eventually we may not need that pool together contract. I do think that there's good things about those pool together contracts, but like the idea, like we could just use like a raw yield vault and create our own smart contract around it if we really
Oh yeah,
wanted.
the idea behind it is equivalent contract address to contract address, whatever it does, right? Like we
Mhm.
want it to be a morpho yield on base that's like generating ETH yield or something like that. Then that's just still a contract address that we just call with the right codes.
Exactly.
No biggie.
Exactly.
I kind of
No.
love the composability of crypto. It's almost like it was built that way.
Yeah. Wow, who knew? Yeah. Did you know you can compose these things?
Oh, it feels like it's like part of the design doc.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to try to work on some of that today, at least on the privy side, and see if we can get that going, and see if I can as well get it like, well, first I'll get the basic functionality going, and then I'll see if I can make other parts of the site kind of react to the fact that you're logged in. My bank wallet, Vercel app, cool. Simple DeFi, experimental features disabled.
Sorry for the ugly UI. I'm still working on it. The buttons down below are eventually going to have to be
It's not
like
bad.
they're dynamic in terms of like what you have in your wallet. So that my idea was kind of like they would just show up above like your wallet if you had ETH to deposit or whatever it was, or so on and so forth. So simple.
Cool. Yeah, I'll give it a go after this meeting. But yeah, that's. I mean, what you're using a UI framework, I assume.
Just Next.js.
Okay. Oh, but what is the like? It seems like you're using like a CSS framework or something.
Tailwind, I think, is whatever, just
Okay.
the
Okay.
basic create app setup. So I didn't go too much beyond the basics yet. Like I said, I was building up. I was trying to get the on-chain stuff working. I was like, how quickly could I throw together this like functional on-chain wallet bank? I was like, I bet I could do it in a couple of days.
Cool. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Is this have a back end and a front end, or is this just a front end?
I think I needed some back-end calls for APIs for
Mm-hmm.
pricing, just for the pricing cores and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Cool. All right. So historical accounting, I guess Arcosi's not here. I'll poke him a little bit later and we'll see. And blog post on our system. Again, this is something Arcosi was going to work on. Rather than getting into the task perspective, I guess like we can get into what did we ship last week. Go through that list and then we'll get into the discussion. So I tried to onboard to Braille. I failed. I sent an email to support. They're taking it pretty seriously. I told them I was on vacation, so hopefully I'll get back to that. But that would be really cool for us, actually, Tom. And it could be cool for your little simple DeFi app, your My
Yeah,
Bank app.
let's do it. Let's get that in there. That would be cool.
Yeah, because then you could onboard people or onboard on ramp people, which would be pretty cool.
Once I get the privy login in there or whatever, maybe I'll try to get a little fork for like a BCard specific deploy. So like that sort of showcases like the BCard wallet tokens or whatever as well too in a separate little widget.
Cool. All right, I prepped and held the all hands. I set up the Panama Foundation yearly fee multi-sig transaction. Winverse taped and shared the last week's all hands. I posted the all hands on social. I updated the nouns prompt and reached out to sponsors. I shared the July retro funding vote on socials. I poked the multi-sig and shared the TX link with our Panama lawyers, not layers. Lawyers. JRH 3K5 submitted a bug. I was chatting about nouns prop with delegates and dispersed a July 2025 in real life event votes. Shared on all socials, and I solicited new events. I distributed contributor rewards, and Tom settled the monthly user tokens for Bank Nogs USD Glow. Anything else that we shipped that is not here?
That's it for me. Vacation time.
Cool.
Suntan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also got a tan.
Shipped some relaxation.
Yeah. What about you, Inverse? Did you get some time off? I don't know if you took some time. I feel like August is let's say, traditional time to take off in my neck of the woods. But I'm not sure if you're here, Winverse, but if you are, feel free to just type in the chat or something. Yeah. So as we get into the fall, I feel like it's always like a time for reflection, and it's just kind of like, okay, I was kind of thinking like, what do we want? I guess like more than just BCard, but like, what do we want the B Foundation to be, right? And what got me thinking about it was like, okay, when I joined Bankless DAO, I feel like a lot of us were there for different reasons, but all kind of aligned, right? Like this idea that like, okay, we have different goals, different dreams, but being here is where we're going to potentially take one step further on that front. And so I just really wanted to start understanding a little bit more um, our members, like kind of the people who are working on it here, what they want to accomplish in their lives, so that we can kind of like create this space as a place for them to kind of do that. I think like the previous Bankless DAO is now defunct, and so it'd be nice to have a place where people could move towards that. One of the things that really attracted me there was that kind of idea, that it's a place where people can chase their dreams. And in fact,
me as well. Me as
yeah,
well. Yeah, definitely. I thought that the fact that like it was sort of an open avenue that people could sort of self-direct towards the ends that they found the most meaningful and the most sort of like beneficial. I think that was the biggest attractive force for me, was that given the weight of your interest, you could choose your own direction. That was kind of neat. That you could kind of draw people to your cause with the the power of your belief. Right?
yeah, and like it was also like you had, it was like broad enough that there could be lots of different um, kinds of dreams and ideas or whatever, but it was also like narrow enough that the kinds of people that you were meeting were similar to you in some way, right?
It felt like such an open field of like new opportunities. I think just with like the amount of things that were like being built and created at the time, it just felt like an overwhelming onslaught of possibility. It was just like all there, like all in a like big bundle all at once, right? Like some sort of like you weren't sure like what was being built, but people were all building.
Exactly. Like you couldn't even keep up with everything that was going on, right?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
people were building in different ways.
and I think that was reflective of the space in general, right? Like, so I felt like that whole like everything in crypto was just like in chaos mode. So many neat new things being sort of tried out and released and launched, just because people for a long time had pent up demand to do things and no money to do it or whatever. And so finally there was an opportunity to like try out a lot of these things and see where they stick. Some of them did.
Yeah. Most of them didn't.
That's the way of all these things, right? It's like the cannabis shops when you drive through towns. You're just like, well, see you later to 90% of these shops eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's going to be turnover. Just like, I mean, in the AI industry, there's going to be turnover in whatever's going on right now.
It's new for a time or whatever, and the attention level is like unsustainably high for a bit.
Yeah. And so like the reason I wanted, like, I guess like one of my personal dreams is to create a space where people have a place to do that, right? Where people have a place to kind of chase their dreams in some way, be around others who are also doing that. And I'm hoping that like this can be that space in some ways, like that B Foundation can be in some ways that place. I think that there's some missing pieces, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel in some ways. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I tend to agree in it generally.
Well,
I
let's hear. I mean, I feel like there's some nuance there.
Oh no, I mean, for me the main principal goal has always been the same. I just like to build something cool, right? Like I like interesting things. I like learning something new and figuring out how it works. That's always been my um, sort of the thing that drives me. But more so than anything is I want something that people will find useful. I want to work on like a product or project that like has utility and that people enjoy. So that's like towards that end. I think that like there's a lot of opportunity in crypto for new things to be built that are interesting that will bring people utility. And so I think that yeah, it's just like what will resonate with people is always the question that I have. I don't like I always feel like I'm a strange audience of one because like I like everything. So and it's
Yeah.
it's not always the things that I like that resonate on a more broad scale. So.
Well, I mean, what's your dream? I know what you like to do, but what's your dream?
To be honest with you, there's not much more like beyond that. Like just to be comfortable and do interesting work and like have your days be filled with like uh, solving interesting problems and making things better. I like building cool stuff digitally and physically. So thinking about it from that standpoint or whatever, like sharing your work with people and having houses that you build that people can live in is kind of like the short motto I think is of my dream.
Having
Build
houses that
build good houses that people can live in. And it's like
Mm.
they're not really houses, right? But the things that we build I think are all kind of like properties that uh, I abstract to houses. It's just like everything that you create, that you spend time working on, that you build, somebody has to use it. Somebody's got to, it has to have the, usefulness and utility for the purpose that you built it. And so trying to
Yeah.
do good work for that, right? And make it really good and make it like, really work for somebody is like, it's a good drive. It's a big driver for me.
No, me too. Actually, it's in it. So in my career goal, which I have on LinkedIn and stuff like that, which you can see, it the thing that I write down is that I want to build a product that millions of people love. And the reason I say people and not businesses is because I really want people to love it. It's hard for business to love something. They're like, you're saving me money, I love it. You're making me money, I love it. Right? Like that's kind of it. Whereas like if a human, you can touch them more emotionally, right? Like you can create something. Like I guess like it's funny that you brought that metaphor of a house because I've been thinking about what it means to be a network state, and I was like kind of like taking these digital concepts and putting the physical idea of like a city or a neighborhood behind them. So like what we have right here is not even a neighborhood, right? Like I would say like what we had at Bankless was like a full-fledged city, right? Like there was lots of
Yeah.
stuff going on. And it was kind of like a city built on shaky foundations, but it was still city. You could go to different neighborhoods, like different guilds, different projects, and see what was going on there. And even within each of those guilds and projects, there was like sub projects and so. So like I felt like there was like more of a city there. But what we have here is like, I would say we're not even a house yet, right? But like that idea of building a house, there's something inherently like I don't know, something primal about every human needs shelter, right? And so if you build shelter and someone's around, they're probably going to use it, right? And so it's just like kind of like getting
And
back to those
the
things.
durability factor, right, of a
Hmm.
house is something that I often consider. That you're just like when you create something or whatever that like a house, right? You want it to be last for a really long time and do the job really well for a really long time. It's like you can't let it fall into disrepair either, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's put a pin in that for a second as well, because I think that Winverse popped up. Winverse,
Doing
did you have something to say?
Yeah, GM, I'm able to speak now.
Awesome. Nice to
Yeah,
hear your voice, actually.
yeah, thank you. When you posted the link in the chat earlier, I gave that like some thoughts, and honestly, my dream is to basically cause a change, um, in like the whole ecosystem in the world. The Web3 has done a lot for folks in Africa, most especially. It has like changed the way things are in terms of like how money is transferred and moved, and that has caused like a very serious like ripple effect. Once again, especially in Africa, because like there have always been that whole issue with spending and moving money around and all of that. But like bringing Web3 and having Web3 has caused this change. My dream is to build upon that basically, effect more change. Not necessarily just in Africa, but like the rest of the world basically. So I'm just like building, learning, all in at the same time. I'm just trying to get out the knowledge I can get while I'm trying to apply some of these things across both basically. So like that's just like the TLDR.
What kind of change do you want to make?
So right now, we have in Africa we have like the whole money we're able to spend, transact basically with crypto and all of that, but there's a serious barrier really right now when it comes to how to handle some of these things. The wallets, yes, it's across board, it's everywhere. Where there's like a serious challenge trying to onboard users, get them really into like the weeds of Web3. But like part of my dream basically is to be able to bring in ensure like mass adoption of like what we have going on here. It doesn't necessarily have to be um building like a Web3 solution for payments or something along those lines, but like just being part of that change, trying to instigate things that will cause that change and that will cause like more adoption really, because it has been an eye opener for me and a lot of folks here. I know I brought in like a number of people into the space, and I've been seeing like the ripple effects, basically how they have been growing, and it's been awesome and wonderful to see. And it just shows that like if more people are in this space, then definitely more can be done.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's tough, right? Because like I guess like I really resonate with what you're saying, or what you're saying, I guess let's say resonates with me. It really like I also see the world as it is, and I feel like we need to do it differently, but I'm not quite sure what form that differently takes. But it does feel
Mm.
like that idea of cryptocurrency, it can help me in that change in some ways, because all of a sudden I can share value with someone without having to go through a bunch of intermediate, like for instance Winverse, before in the before if we before cryptocurrencies, you and I probably never would have worked together ever, right? Like that just
Exactly.
it wouldn't have happened, right? And it's not just you. There's
Exactly.
a bunch of like a ton. There's a huge African contingent in Bankless now who just did such good work. But I never would have met any of you if it wasn't
Exactly.
for cryptocurrencies. And there's some bad parts about that too, right? Like just the idea that like there are people who had multiple accounts, and they were just kind of like doing different, essentially like extracting money. And that was, you can say that for any number of contributors, and you see it on Farcaster still, right? Like I had a recent someone who recently got something from Black Flag. Like I'm pretty sure that they were just kind of like lying to get the money, because it's easy for them to get the money. So like I don't blame them for it, but I think people see these problems and they're like, oh, that means crypto's unusable. And I see these problems and I'm like, oh, there's something for us to potentially solve here, right? Or there's
Mm.
something that we can. There's still utility, right? Like I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the promise
exactly.
long
Like
term of the internet was always to bring people together, right? And the hurdles to overcome was like is like figuring out the trust, like how do we trust each other across the digital distance.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, plus one on that, plus one on that. And no matter how much we try, there will definitely be those guys who will still like want to um make money the wrong way and try and get funds from like different wrong means. We can't like run away from that for sure. But like at the end of the day, like Tom said, like the whole idea of the internet was to bring folks together, and I can see Web3 doing this. Just an example is this Dev Connect coming up in November. Yeah, there's like a plan with like the state to help like citizens or people from Africa who are trying to get visas. Like the process is now like smoother for them. So like all of these connecting tissues basically just goes to show how far Web3 has gone and is going, and like some of the depths that are still going to reach basically. So it's really good to see and interesting, really.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think that because of the way that a lot of, like, let's say the larger groups are funded, like notwithstanding DevConnect, I actually think that like it's mainly the Ethereum Foundation that's funding DevConnect, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but there are some other, like for instance, like if you look at groups like Base or you look at any of these VC backed groups, the way that they're looking at like this whole trust problem is like, okay, we need to do something that's going to scale to everyone. And I think that
Mm,
that's a valid approach to doing it, right? Like there are some problems you can only solve that way. And, you know, the three of us here are never going to be able to do it that way, right? Because it just takes so much more resources to do it. But what we can do, and what I think actually crypto is good for, is that whole idea of like a cottage industry, which is really just like, hey, I can produce something myself or with a small group of people, and that thing can still be useful to a smaller group of people. So it's kind of like the angle that we're looking at is really like, hey, I can't solve like if a random person comes in, um, like whether or not to trust them. I can't solve that problem. But what I can solve is like, hey, I know everyone in this group is trusted because they've been vouched for by someone, or I know them personally, or they did something that shows that. And within this group of people, we can do something cool. Like within this community, we can have like a kind of like um, we can have like a safe space within this community to do certain things, right?
mm,
So I think that like
right.
that idea of permissionless sometimes gets distorted by people who need it to be something large. But there's also an angle that people don't talk about, which is like looking at it from the small side and working up from there.
Yep, yep. Plus one.
Yeah. So I guess when I'm thinking about like when I said I wanted to create that space that people can come to kind of um, to kind of follow their dream, it really involves a lot of the things that the two of you are saying as well. Really, like I think like for me to be able to make change, really like lasting change over the long term, with crypto, I really feel like it's going to be bottom up that happens. I don't think that these VCs or these VC backed companies are going to unlock something that, like, for instance, like the two biggest blockchains or the two biggest things, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they were all bottom up initiatives. They were both bottom up initiatives, right? Um, and they kind of, I think, changed the game. Same with Uniswap. Uniswap was a one person coding to create this thing, and this kind of like decentralized exchange, and all of a sudden that changed the game. Same with Yearn, right? One person creating this kind of like yield vault, which kind of changed the game in some ways. I really think that change is bottom up, and so to
Yeah,
your point,
sorry, those are the models for my dream as well. I was like the thought that like a small team can come up with a great idea and build like a usable functional property that like so many people can use and get value out of is amazing to me. That's the core goal. I think Uniswap is one, right? Yearn as well.
yeah. And so I think that that's for me that's really interesting because I think that we can make change here in a way like you can't do that. You can't really do that in AI at all, right? Like you need millions of dollars of funding to create a new AI model or to do AI research or any of that kind of stuff. There's just no money in it. But in crypto, you can create a product like this and make money from a small team. And so for me, that makes crypto more interesting because it means that we can create something more self-sovereign here. That only we like that we continue to own or that we continue to work on in some ways, right? Whereas in AI, that's just not possible. Uh, and
Another thought process is sort of thinking about those tools that we consider to be life changing, like Uniswap and Yearn, right? And how few people have had a chance to interact with those products because of the relative complexity of DeFi, right? So
exactly.
simplified user interface, allowing users to easily access, those rock solid features that we consider rock solid features of DeFi, and allowing them to unlock sort of more capabilities that they wouldn't otherwise be able to just through building a nice user interface app. Like, to me, that's sort of a cool mid-level unlock or whatever. I'm not sure if there's much value creation possibility there, but in terms of like doing a cool thing that allows people to do more, that seems like a neat unlock.
Yeah. No, and so that I absolutely agree with as well. And it requires us to do this kind of work that a lot of people are shying away from, really. Like, so, okay, now we have Braille, which is using Bridge to do their on-ramping, and so like they've become like the kind of like on-ramp experts. But like I guess there's a ton of people who can create like a little My Bank thing like you've done, Tom. But there are far fewer people who are trying to appeal to regular people in that way. And when I'm looking at creating this let's call it like a network state, we start with creating like a small, like we have to start brick by brick, right? So we have to build something good first, and then we have to take that durable thing that we built and get people to use it, and then we have to build another thing, right? And then we have to get more people to use it, and then we have to enable others to build their own houses, right? Like that's how you create a city.
You
And I
got
think
it.
that's
How do you get people to pay attention to your cool things? That's all.
Yeah.
That's what was it in Octant? They were talking about like distribution. I think one of those seminars is like 90% of the success of your product, not like how good it is or how good your idea is or how good your execution is. It's just literally marketing and distribution.
So it really depends. I think 90% is high. I mean, in a space where there are lots of developers, it may feel like it's 90%. And I think that
that's
if
the
you
marketing people saying it's 90%, right? That's the
yeah,
they're overvaluing their own work.
exactly. Like I think like
it's all the coding, obviously it's the coding
yeah,
work, and that's the success of the product.
absolutely. I mean, like so, like you need to build something good, and you need to be able to connect the people who need that good thing with a good thing, and like like we have something with that whole endowment fund mechanism, right? Like we have people using it, and we have people asking about it, and there's something there, but it's not good enough, right? Because it's not easy to put money in. It's not easy to understand how it works. It's not easy if you're someone who has an event to learn about it and figure out how to use it. It's none of that stuff is easy, right?
It's not easy from a technical standpoint, and I think that coming back to what Winverse was talking about earlier, it's not easy to establish the trust required in all of those different layers, right? That we're trying to bring together. So, like, I can tell my mom that like Aave is a safe place to put her money to earn yield, to earn like interest or whatever, right? But like she has to trust me about that. like what do I know? I could be wrong about a lot of things as well too, right? And so there's a lot of things that we got to trust. Yeah.
Well, I bet if I asked everyone at this Farcaster meetup, like if we had a mini app, for instance, that made it easy to deposit into this pool, I bet that every single person at the in real life event meetup would put in $10 if I asked them to, right?
I think so. At an in real life event too, you got a little bit of different trust layer too, right?
Yeah, and so that's why I think like attacking these things from a community perspective makes the most sense, because that's where trust exists already, right? So like, yeah, if you tell your mom it's going to happen, that's great, but not a random person. So it's really like we need to create a system where we make it easy for anyone. Like, for instance, like let's just say if we start with Farcaster's go-to-market, right? Anyone on Farcaster to kind of like sign in, and see what's going on, and deposit money, then we can basically like that's our distribution at the beginning. And distribution always changes, right? Like you figure out like a channel that works, you exploit it for all it's worth, and you spend 80% of your time on that, and you spend 20% of your time looking for the next channel, because getting from your first 10 users to your first 100 users, to your first 1,000 users, to your first 10,000 users, it all requires usually different channels. Every economy of scale, not economy of scale, every what am I looking for? Order of magnitude requires a different marketing strategy.
There's a roadmap to success or whatever, but it's a laborious one, right? Like as you say, it's a lot of a ton of legwork getting things going and building it up and being persistent over time. Absolutely.
Yeah. So for Black Flag, I think I think we're aligned on this, but feel free to be honest about this. But for me, because there's something working in that endowment mechanism, and for me, I see building the good thing as creating this website which allows people to easily sign up for Black Flag, deposit money, and vote. That's kind of like the house that we're building right now.
Yeah. Log in with Privy. Privy handles the wallet infrastructure for the most part on the back end. Tokens for voting are through Snapshot, and the deposit funds are into a pool or contract otherwise. No, I mean, I think all those pieces, make a lot of sense, and we can probably make it pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, but what if we just
getting people to use it or try it? That's
one of the things I was wondering is what if we just forgot about Privy and just focused on making it a Farcaster mini app first, and we just use their wallet address as the sign-in mechanism. We're missing a lot of things without email, right?
Yeah, but we could focus on just the deposit widget aspect of it as a mini app. Absolutely, I think that would be a short-term way to generate interest. Absolutely, a good way.
Yeah. Anyway, something to think about. I see that we're coming on the end here, but for me, it's just I think I'm aligned with what the two of you are saying, and to attract more people. I guess it's weird, right? Because if we just build, no one will ever know what we're doing, right? And so it's obviously more than just building that we have to do with, right? I think Bankless DAO really succeeded in the short time that it existed because it was because before it launched, there was just a ton of people just listening to what these people had to say. There was no technology that they built; they were just talking, and so that's something for us to note too, right? We need some talking, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, you gotta I like I said, I love building cool things or whatever, but if people don't use them, if people don't live in your houses or whatever, then what is it for?
Exactly. But yeah, so maybe that means I need to do more talking, which I've been doing a little bit more lately. But yeah, I don't really have we have our. I guess I don't really have a basis for the things we're saying. I guess in general, I
don't think it's on you. By the way, I'm not I'm not trying to push it on you as a
no. I know
you got to get out there more or anything. I think you're doing a great job being social.
For me, it's yeah. I guess I mean, it's just not my interest as much either. So we kind of need a talky person who's willing to do that kind of stuff. But we won't be able to track them unless we do something interesting first. So first do something remarkable.
A talky person will find us interesting and want to talk about it. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So let's do something interesting. That's what I'm all about. I think what that interesting thing is. It might change as the market changes. It might change as we ourselves change. But as long as we're aiming to do something interesting and remarkable, and not just something that everyone else is doing, I think that will make all the difference.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you as well.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. Should we call it for now then?
I think we'll get off to the rest of the day, grab a coffee refill.
All right. It's about that time. All right. Talk to you later. Thanks you guys for coming.
That's good. We'll talk soon, guys.
Bye.